Hi, so you're thinking about moving to Sacramento and specifically North Natomas?
Well, you're definitely in the right place.
Yes, you are. Today we're going to be talking about pros and cons and everything that you need to know about the great neighborhood of North Natomas, just outside Sacramento.
Yeah, and hey, if you're new to the channel, please make sure that you hit subscribe and the bell button because...
Yeah, then you'll get all the alerts and know everything there is to know about living in Sacramento. All right, so let's jump into it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, so we're going to start off with a pro because, like positivity.
Yeah.
And I would say one of the things that I love most about North Natomas is it was really well laid out and really well thought out, in my opinion.
Definitely. I think I haven't fact checked it, but somebody said at the planning level at some point that every front door is within, I want to say 700 or 1,000 feet of some kind of green
Parker School.
Or green spot, whatever. You know what I mean.
Maybe fact check him on that. I don't know.
Maybe I'll fact check it, and then you can put it in the comments below. How is that?
Yeah. But truly, like each of the different neighborhoods in Natomas, we've got Natomas Park, which we walked through with you guys when I did the video walking tour. We've got Regency Park, Westlake Village, Natomas Crossing. Like each and every one of those neighborhoods, there are different price points to get into. So that you can actually end up staying in the same neighborhood all through your home owning experience, which I think is really great.
Yeah.
Especially for continuity for kids and whatnot. So like, for example, I just looked up today and you can get into a decent sized condo in Natomas Park area for right around $350 and a single family residence. The smallest ones are starting in the mid 400s. So, and going up from there. And then I even saw a luxury listing in the Westlake area that was almost $2 million. And then, of course, there's everything in between.
Yeah, I bet, is it on the lake or not?
It's actually not even on the lake.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
I think the seller might be they might be hallucinating a little bit. I don't think that it's 4,800 square feet, so it's a really good size house, but it doesn't back up to the lake.
Well, if you, the seller, happen to watch this video, and make us wrong.
Make us wrong. I would love to see you succeed at selling that house for $2 million. It was a very pretty house, for sure.
I like that.
So the cons.
Well, there's always cons, right?
There
are. I mean, while overall the schools in the greater Sacramento area are really, really top-notch schools, the Natomas School District has a little bit, and not just Natomas, because there's two school districts. There's Natomas Unified, and then there's Twin Rivers, depending on what side of the street you live on.
Right.
And both those have not as high of a rating. I mean, still a high rating, but not as high of a rating as, for instance, Folsom. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So just depending on which area you're going towards, and then like we talk about all the time, the parent involvement makes a huge determination in your child's success in schools. So whether the schools are an A+ rating or, an F rating, we don't have any F rating schools in Sacramento, by the way. But even if it was, like, the parent involvement makes way more of a difference than the actual school scores. And so, there's my advice there.
Yeah. Okay. And then, but there's also like a couple of charter schools that have super high ratings, right?
Definitely. There's a performing arts charter school in Natomas. There's definitely some college prep charter schools in Natomas. And you might have to fight to get your kiddo in there, but it's worth the fight. We've had friends and clients that have had their kids go there and, raving fans, for sure.
Definitely. Yes. Let's talk about another con too, since we're a little bit on the upside right here.
Yeah.
I think so when we used to live there and we would travel and Renee would fly in and I wouldn't, and I would go pick her up from the airport. She would literally call me when she touched down and I would get in the car because it's only about 10, 15 minutes away. So by the time I got to the airport, she rolled out with the luggage. So that is probably the number one pro for me.
You just said you were going to have a con.
Well,
it can be both.
No, because the con is really
the proximity to the airport.
Actually,
when I was out in Westlake, the day that I did the walking tour, a plane flew over exactly as I was talking about the house that I was standing in front of. And I was like, well, that might be a con. So you definitely, depending on the wind patterns and the flight path that day, you will hear the planes going over in certain neighborhoods in Natomas.
Right. And from personal experience, you get used to it. Similar to people that live on the train tracks, right? And they've lived there for years. They don't even hear it anymore. Maybe they hear it, but it doesn't bother them anymore.
Right. And actually in Regency Park, that's where we lived for 7 years when we first moved back to Sacramento. And we were very close to the trains. So we would hear the trains going by in the evenings, and it kind of gets a little bit soothing, actually. You're like, the train in the distance. It was nice.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so that was a pro and a con in one, right?
Yes. Yep. So, exactly. I'm just looking at my notes, you
guys. Yeah. Cool. So, why don't you pick up the next pro then?
So I think a big pro, and not to say this again. And when I was out in Natomas walking around, I brought you guys to some of the parks and the amenities, just the enormous number of amenities that the community has put in place for the residents are outstanding. So we've got the new water park that opened in 2022. You've got parks galore. You have the farmers market. There's so much community involvement with all of the elected officials. It's really, I think it's pretty special. Yeah,
they did a really great job when they planned it. I mean, the whole darn thing used to be rice fields 30 years ago, right?
Yes.
So, and there's still some rice fields out there to the north, but there's definitely some development also, right, going in, and it's actually expanding more on the west side towards the airport.
Yes.
And I don't think it's on our list, but I don't know if it's a pro or con, but you're really close to the Amazon Fulfillment Center.
Yes.
Right? There's one.
One of the pros that we talk about, or that's coming up, is that there's a tremendous job market in the Natomas area.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got the Amazon Fulfillment Center that's out there. We have so much industry that's getting built up along Highway 5 and along Highway 99 right there. Lots of commercial going in, for sure.
And then you have the Metro Airport that's constantly developing, right?
Yes. And then Arco Arena just got demolished
and there's no more, right? And it's called, what is it called? I forget. It's just Innovation Park.
Innovation Park. We literally just looked it up, you guys.
So it's Innovation Park and the medical center that is taking the place of the former Arco Arena, or I think towards the end it was called the Sleep Train Arena.
Yeah.
But
it's been called a lot of things, but now it's not called anything anymore, and it's going to be the Innovation Center. And that's going to bring a ton of industry and a ton of job opportunities for people throughout the Sacramento region, and especially for those folks that live right in Natomas. It's going to be pretty fantastic. And that's going to make it, easy for people to bike or walk to work even.
Yeah.
So making Natomas a little bit more walkable, because while it's very, very close to downtown, and that's another one of our pros, and could be a con, it's not very walkable as it is right now. So I think that it is what it is, but it's about a 10 to 15 minute drive, or a $20 Uber if you're out on a date night and you don't want to drive home after a glass of wine or two. There I go with the wine again.
I was just going to say, so you always find a way to pick it up, bringing wine and food into the video. But
absolutely.
Hey, that's good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. We love, we love food and wine.
Yeah. That's no secret.
It's not a secret.
Especially not when you've seen all those videos, because we make one reference at least.
At least, yes.
Right. But I think one of the cons, although we're so close and we're talking about the fact that we are 10, 15 minutes away from downtown without traffic, right? With traffic, it could take you as much as a half an hour in the mornings if you have to take I-5. But the public transportation is not great, right? There's buses, but there's also, Sacramento itself has a streetcar system.
Light rail,
right? Call it. Or streetcar.
Yeah.
Well, depending on where you're looking or watching from, right, in the world.
Yes.
You may call it different things. Which, fun fact, Siemens, which is a German company, is building those light rails. And they have a big plan so completely off topic, right? But I thought I just mentioned that real quick. But
Mike
anyways,
is a very proud German, just so you guys know.
A little bit, right? But the problem is the river, right? So the I-5 goes over the river, and they have not figured out how to get the light rail in a cost-effective way over the river. And that's why there's no connection to the airport right now, for instance. And
however,
no connection.
No connection to Natomas either from downtown. However, there is on demand that is provided with, I think it's a joint venture between a nonprofit called Jibe and also the Sac Regional Transit. So there are definitely ways that you can use public transportation. It's just not as readily available as other parts
right.
of Sacramento.
It's more on demand, and it's definitely not mass transportation.
No,
right?
not mass transportation. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Which maybe that's more enjoyable.
Yeah, I don't know. would keep cars off the road, right?
Yes.
But that's a whole nother topic again.
Yes. Another great pro, since that was kind of a pro and con, are the great local restaurants.
Yeah.
Right. And, of course, little bars and eateries and things too.
So one of our favorites is definitely Bella Brew that's been there for quite some time, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say at least decades, for sure.
And you've done a little in your video blog. You did a piece in front of it.
I did, yes. Yeah. So I was right outside of Bella Brew when we were doing our walking tour of North Natomas, and I think that Liz has done a great job of providing a great menu always. She does some seasonal favorites, and her whole team. I mean, it's not just Liz, but the owner has really assembled an awesome team, an awesome wine list, really good food, and also super good craft cocktails.
Yeah, and live music in the summer oftentimes, right? Yeah.
They've got a really nice patio, which was, super important during COVID, and they've always had it though, so they were ahead of the game. And live music and
another fun fact, it was next to a Blockbuster.
Yes.
So if you're old enough to remember Blockbuster, you get a kick of that.
I was actually standing right in front of where the Blockbuster used to be.
Oh, really?
It's a Kids' Choice Dental now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Much healthier.
Fun fact, right?
Yes, one of the last ones, I think. That was a holdout for a while, and we used to go there Friday nights. So we'd go get our movies,
and we paid those late fees all the time. Love Netflix.
Yes, thank goodness for Netflix and Amazon. All right.
Let's see. So that was another pro, right?
Yes.
So another restaurant I like to go to is Oshima Sushi, that has not just sushi, but all kinds of really yummy food, and at night it becomes a lounge. Right?
Yes, the Fugu Lounge. And we used to go do lots of happy hours over there because it was right across the street from our old brokerage when we were still working and living in Natomas. So.
And then you have the national chains like On the Border, things like that done, In and Out. I mean,
there's two In and Outs in Natomas.
That's true.
There's so much demand for those burgers that there's actually two of them within probably a 2-mile radius of each other.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. But there's also, a ton of other restaurants as well. So no shortage of food or drinks if you're in North Natomas, that's for sure.
And because it's, that brings me actually to the next pro, it's super diverse, Natomas in its core, right?
Right.
Whether you talking about the schools or just the neighborhoods in general, or the restaurant scene, really. You can find really anything from the Greek to Thai to the traditional American,
Indian food. I mean, so many things.
And so many more.
Yeah, Italian,
flavors.
Asian, like you name it, you can find it in Natomas. And I think
Mexican,
it's because,
right?
Oh my gosh, there's a hole-in-the-wall Mexican place that if you guys love Mexican food, like authentic Mexican food, like comment below and we'll share the link.
Yeah, we're not going to give it away here in the video. You actually have to.
Yeah, you have to participate.
Best Mexican, and it's. Should we give it a little?
Well, it's just in a place that you wouldn't think it would be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you want to know, hit us up and we'll let you know. Sorry, but we're talking about diversity, right?
Yes. So the schools, there's several schools that are actually rated as the most diverse in all of California, and I would venture to guess that probably in the United States.
Possibly.
Because California is probably the most diverse state. So if those schools are the most diverse in California, probably the most diverse in the U.S., but we have not fact-checked that.
No.
I remember that when our boys were going to Regency Park Elementary, that they actually said that there were more languages spoken at the homes of the students there than in any other
and
school.
I think it was, if not over 100, close to 100 different languages.
Just like wild. And so you get a lot of, like really good enrichment from that, like the conversations you get to have and just the different viewpoints.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Cool. So that brings us to the next pro and con.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Which is low-income housing. So depending on which side of the aisle you are, you might like it or you might not. But I think there's definitely a place and it needs to be available.
Yes.
And there is a good amount of low-income housing, and there's apartments also. It's not just home ownership, right? It's also if you're renting and you you were saving up for your first house.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some necessity for that, of course. The thing that I do love about the low income purchase programs that the city of Sacramento has is, they're really encouraging home ownership regardless of income levels. And so if you have good credit and you're just, just starting out and you meet the requirements, there's some homes that are available that really are below market as far as the price of the homes. And so it gives people a leg up to get into the housing market and not be a perpetual renter too.
Right.
So
but
I love that.
At the same time, if you get that break at the beginning, keep in mind there's deed restrictions, and so when you get to sell it, you have to pay it forward.
Right. So the person that buys the house from you down the line, they're also going to get a good deal. So you don't have that appreciation opportunity that you might have just buying on the regular market. However, I mean, it's significantly discounted from what the market prices are. And so it really does give you that opportunity for the equity in paying down your mortgage. So there's still, income earning opportunities. It's just not the appreciation like you might see in the regular market.
Right. And then there's one that I talked to you about that you didn't put on the list. So
what's that?
The wind.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's quite windy. It is quite windy in Natomas.
Which is a good and a bad thing, right? In the summer, sometimes you benefit what we call the delta breeze, which is typically the wind comes from the ocean and cools things off nicely. But also in the summertime, you get, now in the fall, right, you get the north winds. And because it's pretty flat in Natomas, you're just subject.
It's just right through.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some pretty windy days sometimes. So.
Definitely. We've actually had tornadoes out there too over the years.
Yeah,
like here and there. I mean, they never really touched down.
Maybe,
but you would see wind
clouds. There was one that
touched
touched down and took out a fence, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, we're talking in the last 20 years, I know of that one.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll just see wind tunnels like very, very rarely. But, that the wind causes that. So.
And remember when we first moved into the house, there was this wall of tumbleweeds. So we literally opened our garage and there had not been any houses built in front of us.
That's right.
And literally after one of the windstorms, there were so many tumbleweeds, like we were tumbleweeded in. Not snowed in, but
it wasn't a snow day. It was a tumbleweed day. We couldn't get out of our garage. So
it's crazy. So, but that tells you, I mean, there's definitely a lot of wind. And so if you have allergies, that could potentially bother you. So there could be a con. Thank you. But
I mean,
the pro is definitely the cooling off.
The cooling off is definitely a pro. Sorry. No, allergies. Just speaking of allergies, we have clients that move here from all over, mostly coming from the Bay Area, Southern California. Some people still coming in from out of state. That does still happen. And we usually hear from them a couple of years in that, oh my gosh, I never had seasonal allergies before. And now I do every single year. And I never had them before I moved to Sacramento. And now if I miss my allergy medicine for even a day or two, I start coughing like almost immediately. So it's definitely a thing here because, like I've said so many times, we are the city of trees. And with trees comes pollen and
there's lots of it. And then, I mean, especially with the rice farming and all the other farming going on, right? You just have a ton of, what is that called? Pollen.
Yes, I just said it.
You just said it. But obviously, I'm like any other guy, not not good at listening.
Or talking sometimes. So
watch it.
Anyway, I think that pretty much wraps up our pros and cons for North Natomas today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully you got some laughs out of our silliness.
Yeah, and again, if you're new to the channel, right?
Yeah, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit that bell for the alerts, and whether you're looking to move in a week, a month, or even a year, definitely reach out to us. We get calls and emails and messages from folks like you every single day, and our whole team loves it, and we'd love to help you make a smooth move to Sacramento.
Absolutely. With that, thanks so much for tuning in and have a great day.
Bye-bye.